Welcome back, everyone, to the Rocco and Ryan MMA Show. This is episode 7, and we are going to dive into this weekend's event headlined by a monster lightweight matchup between Dan Hooker and Dustin Diamond Poirier. We're also going to recap last weekend's card as well. But, Rocco, today's a really, really interesting and important day. Do you know why?
I don't know. Here comes the kicker for sure.
So I woke up this morning, I was getting on social media and I was looking around and I got this notification and it said, I have a 3-year friend-iversary with Tony Martin on Facebook. So we're friends for 3 years, man. Where does the time go?
Wow, that's awesome.
I know, right? Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook in some regards, but you know what? Little things like that is cool. I can't believe every year goes by a little bit faster than the next. But yeah, 3 years, and here we are now. We're on episode 7 of the show. And last weekend's card, Rocco, I got to admit, I hand it to you. You were right for the most part. I was wrong. You went 4-1 on the main card. I went 3-2. Let's start right at that main event, heavyweight matchup, Curtis Blaydes and Alexander Volkov. Honestly, Blaydes, clinical in wrestling. He had an amazing performance. However, I will say he was really fading towards the end. If there was a 6th round in MMA, I felt like Volkov may have gotten him out and won the fight. What was your takeaway from that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously going into the fight, that's what I was kind of trying to tell you is that Blaydes, he shoots on the legs. There's not a lot of heavyweights that when they shoot takedowns, they don't go to the legs. It's a lot of upper body wrestling with those heavyweights. So that's the difference with his wrestling and a lot of the other guys that are in that division. But like you said, I thought it was clinical. I was shocked at how critical Dana White was on him because no one's done that to Volkov. Even Volkov before the fight was saying he's been a kickboxer his whole life, where he's defended people trying to take him down his whole entire career, where they all wanted to take him down, and you've seen him like piece apart guys and pick them apart. And I thought Curtis Blaydes was landing heavy shots too, so it wasn't just straight wrestling that he was destroying him in. So I was shocked with Dana being so critical, but I thought it was a dominant performance. But I kind of still, like you said, he was fading, but when you shoot, what was it, 24 or it was a ridiculous amount of takedowns that he shot and running his feet through them. Oh man, Curtis legit. He's a real threat in the division.
Yeah, how good do you think he really is? I mean, because to me personally, when I look at the top echelon of the heavyweights, I kind of feel like I don't want to call him a gatekeeper because he's not a gatekeeper. He's in the top echelon, as you said, but I don't see him beating guys like Stipe or DC or Ngannou. I feel like he's that next level below. Am I wrong, or do you agree with me here?
I mean, how old is he? I think he's still fairly young, no?
Yeah, I think he's about your age.
Yeah, so I think he still might be just coming in his prime. Yeah, I mean, he's had those 2 drop-offs to Ngannou that are tough fights, man. It's tough fights just because he's got so much power. I just need to see him in there. I think that he can compete with anyone, though. I truly think that he can compete with them. He just needs to fight a good fight, and just like he fought Volkov, where he shot in right away. I'm not sure if Ngannou or those guys can really stop those takedowns like that. I felt like he was trying to strike a little bit too much with Ngannou, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. But I mean, he's huge. He's big. He's athletic, and he shoots on the legs, which a lot of heavyweights don't do. So I mean, he's an interesting matchup for anyone in the division.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, great performance, and I still think the ceiling is pretty high for Volkov. Bad matchup stylistically, you were right there, but the guy's a stud, man. He's got some serious power, and he's got some cardio. I feel like his trajectory is going up, even though little setback here. He'll be back. Man, this co-main event with Emmett and Burgos, is that the fight of the year so far? I mean, if it's not, it's in that top 2 or 3 for sure, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely top 2 or 3. Those are the fights where it sucks a little bit, where the fans aren't there. You know what I mean? Just because it's just that feeling of the crowd's excitement and that loudness of the crowd really puts those fights into a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Because you know how exciting it was. There's so much damage in that, so much power in that fight, and very solid technique. That just to have the fans there would have been a whole nother level. But no, like you said, man, it was an absolute barn burner of a fight, back and forth, just complete a display of like pure beauty of violence, right? I mean, on both sides. So it was an absolute awesome fight.
Yeah, Josh Emmett, we both picked him to win the fight. He had like 18 injuries, in that first and second round, and he was able to get through and finish the fight. What does that say about this kid's heart and what he has here moving forward?
Crazy, right, man? It was something just weirdly moved, and you saw his like ankle almost like roll, and then he's like all of a sudden grabbing his knee. This is about a minute into the fight, and you can see him giving out in the middle of the fight, and you're just like, this guy's got some big nuts, man. I'm telling you right now, it's just like, are you kidding me? You seen these guys? I mean, you saw what Santos did, kind of the same thing, but to put on a performance like that and against a guy that has power as well, that can really is trying to hurt you, with Burgos trying to come after you, and to stand in there and fight the way he fought was a remarkable story. And it'll be interesting to see what he does in his comeback. Obviously, it sucks to see a guy put on a performance like that, be in the spot he's at, and then be like knowing that you're gonna probably stay on the sidelines for 8 to 9 months. But hopefully the best for him in recovery, and obviously the guy's earned a huge fight coming back.
Yeah, no doubt. Tyson tweeted this. Burgos put on a performance like that, lose to a guy that's ranked higher than him, and then drop from 10 down to 14 in the rankings. How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a thing where the rankings have never made sense to anybody, really. I don't think the rankings make sense to anyone. I don't know. I think that, but I don't know. Then you saw that report come out with the UFC kind of sending those rankings, and he ends up pretty much right in that area of where they said, which seemed, and then they're trying to act like, oh, that doesn't influence them at all. No, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So I call bullshit. I think that needs to be an overhaul of the ranking system, because there's too much involved with the ranking system of who you're fighting and where you're placed on fights and stuff like that. So I would like to see an overhaul of that system. But no, Burgos deserves another top fight, mostly if he's healthy. He's a guy that I'm not sure. I think, like you said, I put him more in that gatekeeper of that top echelon of fighters at 145. But he's a guy that's going to be around for a long, long time, because he's so exciting and he's so competitive with anyone in the division.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, one of the best fights I've seen in a while. All you can do is tip your cap to both men, and they'll both be back strong. Moving down to the third fight here on the main card, you got Raquel Pennington picking up a win over Renault. I got this one right, and you got it wrong. So all I got to say is take that. I got one right.
Jeez, I didn't think that Raquel was that strong, man. She seemed like she would grab her and just grab that clinch and everything. I'm like, man, she's just strong, like bullying her. And I was impressed with that. I didn't think that she'd be that strong and that powerful. You know what I mean? And she proved me wrong, that she's a legit top contender in the division. And she looked good, man. She looked good. She was strong, man. I expected her to be that strong like that. She was very physical. Very impressive fight by her.
Yeah, no doubt. And her partner on the undercard, Tisha Torres, went out and put on a masterful performance against an up-and-comer, Brianna Van Buren. Both of those ladies are tough in their weight class. But, man, that's got to be quite a great experience to go in there, to have you and your partner fight on the same card and both pick up big wins.
Yeah, you think just high stress, man. What a high stress performing under, not under just the lights, but that stress that your partner is getting in there and have to handle their business. I mean, that's stressful on both parties, and that's huge. That'd be awesome. That has to be a dream come true, for people, is to get in there. You probably dream of something like that, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, Bilal Muhammad picked up a unanimous decision victory over Lyman Good, and he didn't get out unscathed. He got clipped. He got hurt early on. He was able to fight through and get the win. What was your takeaway from this one? I mean, obviously, I got to imagine you had your eyes, peeled on this welterweight matchup.
Yeah, no, obviously I've liked Bilal for a while here. I've seen Lyman Good fight multiple times. When I was getting ready for Damian Maia, obviously I watched that fight. Tough fight, man. Both really good high-level fighters, but Bilal, man, he's tough. He's got great cardio, mixes it up well, is not scared to do anything. Great performance on his part, and I think he set himself up for, hopefully, ideally, a top 15 fight for himself.
Yeah. So how do you feel a matchup with Muhammad still pans out between you and him? Everything that you've seen from this fight, you still feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to go in there and do your thing against him.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, I feel confident versus anyone as long as I don't fight like I did last fight. But I mean, like, no, I think that he's a great fighter. I think it's a great matchup for me, though. I just think that overall I'm a little bit better in a lot of the areas, and but a great guy. Like I said, he definitely, I think he's earned a top 15 opponent. So maybe it'd be like a Lyman Good now next day, so that it'd be looking to fight a Lyman Good or Nico Price or something like in that order. But no, both are exciting fighters. But I do believe Bilal's earned a top 15 shot, so it's his time to get in there and see what he can do.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, the first the first fight of the main card was one that we both had opposite picks here. And again, you were right. Jim Miller, the veteran, submits Roosevelt Roberts early in the first round. I do have to say this though, Rocco. Okay, Jim Miller, he's a veteran. He's a stud. He's been around for a long time. He's probably going to be a UFC Hall of Famer when it's all said and done, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you fight this fight 10 times, I'm still going to pick Roberts next time. Call me crazy, but I feel like Roosevelt Roberts he's that good. I felt he went in there against a veteran guy, made a mistake. As you know, it's the fight game. It happens. What is your takeaway? You just feel like Jim Miller is just a better fighter at this point?
No, I don't think that Jim Miller is a better fighter. I just think that it's just not. It's a tough fight for Roberts just because, like you said, that Miller's such a good high-level grappler, and he's so experienced. You know what I mean? That it just makes it a tough fight because all it takes is that one mistake on Robertson's part, and he's so good though. I mean, that guy's going to be. I'm telling you right now, you give that guy a couple of years here, he's going to be a real threat in the division, is what I believe. As long as keeps his head on it and keeps getting better and working where he needs, that he's going to be. I don't know, man. The guy's built ridiculous for the division, and just overall just a really good fighter. I mean, it's definitely be an interesting part. But I mean, like you said, I think obviously Jim Miller's on his way down and he's on his way up, but it was just that tough fight at the wrong moment for this one. But bright future, man. I'm telling you right now, I really do truly believe that guy has legitimate top 5 potential in the division.
Yeah, so young in his career, so much left to accomplish. Looking forward to seeing what's next for him. Now, before we get into this weekend's event, which is a crazy card, I can't wait. I have to talk about the Max Rohskopf controversy with Robert Drysdale, his head coach, and him basically saying 9 times after the second round, call it. He didn't want to be in there anymore. I mean, he took a beating in the second round from Austin Hubbard. Having said that, he won the first round. So I can see it from both sides. I can see the coach Drysdale saying, hey, man, go out there, show me your heart. This is what you trained for. You win this round, you're going to win a decision. But, then your fighter is saying he doesn't have it anymore. I mean, there's so many people on differing sides. What is your take on it?
Well, first, for something like that, like we don't know Max that well. We haven't been in the training room with him to know if maybe his mentality in training is to quit all the time when he gets tired and he needs to get pushed to go that extra mile. You know what I mean? Maybe sometimes you just need that slap on the ass to be like, get your ass back in there and do your thing. And they get pissed off, and all of a sudden, boom, they hit this second wind, and that's how their fighter is. There's some fighters like that. But it's definitely difficult to see a fighter quit on himself, and I think that was the hardest part that Drysdale was having, is that he probably has so much belief in his fighter and he knows what he can do. He knows what he's capable of, and he knows he's not a quitter maybe. And he's just like, probably his first time ever hearing Max say he wants to quit. You know what I mean? And he's just like, no, maybe I just need to give him that extra slap on the ass to be like, no, you're not going to quit on yourself. I'm not quitting on you. I believe that you can do this, that you can dig deep and win this fight still. And I think that's what it more was than anything else. I don't think it was a thing where Drysdale wasn't looking out for Max's best interest. You know what I mean? And so I think that Drysdale took a little bit too much heat for that, and I think that it's just out of context a little bit. I mean, I think that it just seems like a pretty soft for people to come running on Drysdale like that. I think. I mean, I can see where you can argue the point a little bit. Then you see that Kook Smith, man. I'm telling you right now, that guy has CT and he needs to stop. Like, I'm telling you right now, someone needs to help him out because he's a kook. I'm not kidding about Anthony Smith. He's over here tweeting some stuff like, oh, like acting like Drysdale's like a serial killer for trying to push him out there. And then you look at him like, I don't even know, like, what's this guy talking about?
Yeah.
Did you see his tweet on that or no?
No, I didn't see that, but I will tell you this. I don't know if you saw, I interviewed Max last Wednesday, so just a couple days before the fight. And all of the keyboard warriors that are out there that were commenting afterwards, calling him a quitter, saying that he's a joke and all of that. I mean, I just can't wrap my head around. I mean, these are fans. You're commenting because you watch the sport, because these fighters you look up to, they're stepping in the cage, putting on a show for you, and then you want to be the first ones to drag him down and say, he shouldn't be in this position. I mean, get out of here. Like, that drives me nuts. I am the first person you got to have the utmost respect for a fighter that's going to step in the cage, win, lose, or draw, whatever it is. And that's what drives me the most nuts about this sport is the people that want to drag the fighters down afterwards. And Max was 5-0. He was an ACC champion wrestler at NC State. He's got a bright future. He took the fight on 5 days' notice and had to cut
5 days notice.
Away. Yeah. So I don't know.
No scarier feeling. No one even knows. No one, like, these guys, they don't understand that. There's nothing scarier in this world. I'll tell you this right now. This is a true story. There's nothing scarier than I would fight Francis Ngannou 500 times before I fought someone else gassed out. Okay? I could fight a tomato can where I'm 100% gassed and can barely move. I would fight Francis Ngannou fresh 10 times more than I would fight gassed out versus anybody in this world, because there's no scarier feeling in this world than feeling like you can't move. And you almost feel like you're dying a little bit. And you just feel like you can't do nothing, and especially if you're not in shape and hey, I took this fight on 5 days' notice. This is like, I don't have anything left. Like, I'm dying. I feel like you feel like you're dying. And that's what training is. Like, you need, that's why you got to put these camps in, because you got to get used to being tired. Because if you're not used to being tired, you feel like you got to quit. You know what I mean? And then, so I'm like, no, these guys don't know what tired is. You know what I mean? They've never been tired in their life. And, these are guys that were mediocre athletes probably in high school thinking that they could play in the NFL, So it's Max has, I think, a bright future, man. I hope that the UFC doesn't do him dirty by not giving him another opportunity after that, because he took it on short notice, man. He won that first round. Like you said, he took a beating in the second, and what else do you expect from a guy? You want to go out there and just like lay down and like let the guy kill you? No, I mean, that's what are we talking about here?
Yeah. That old saying, you can't breathe, you can't fight, is 100% the truth. You nailed it right on the head, Rocco. And Max will be back. Mark my words. Whether it's a year, whether he has to go back and fight regional shows, LFA, whatever it may be, he'll be back. He's super young. He's got a break. All right, let's dive into this weekend's card. I'm really excited about this. There's actually 6 fights on the main card. So right now, you have a record of 7-3. I have a record of 6-4, so you have a one-game lead on me, so to speak here. Let's start with the first fight here, Tanner Boser and Philippe Lins, heavyweight matchup. I don't know, do you know Lins? Because he trained at ATT.
Yeah, no, I know Lins, not like as good friends, but we used to train a little bit around the same times, and I was hitting pads with Mikey Rod and stuff. But I'm gonna go with Philippe Lins on this. I think that it would make no sense for this guy to come here and put down 2 fights after being the PFL champ and turn down, that opportunity to be a PFL champ again, to get in the UFC, for him to flop twice. And so I think I'm definitely going to lean towards him.
Okay, great. Well, that's good, because I'm going the opposite direction, so we already have a differing opinion here. I did not like his performance against Arlovsky, a guy who obviously in his heyday was one of the best ever at heavyweight, but he's 40-plus years old now. If he couldn't do what some other fighters have to Arlovsky at this point, I think Boser is a really interesting matchup, because he comes forward, he puts pressure on you, he's got a tough chin. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I either see Boser maybe getting a finish or winning a decision.
Give me freebies, huh?
Freebies, I guess so. I like it. Well, listen, The next fight is a featherweight matchup, and this is interesting because you got Sean Woodson, who probably, if you were to look at, I mean, you know who he looks like? He looks like Tayshaun Prince. Have you ever seen
Yes.
the basketball?
Yeah,
The basketball player.
Denver, not Denver.
Detroit.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. He looks like Tayshaun Prince. I mean, he's tall, he's long, he's got crazy go-go gadget arms. He's a monster for featherweight. He's a veteran. He's been around the game for a while. He's coming in on short notice to take this fight. I don't really like it. I mean, I understand why he's taking the fight. I mean, if a win over Tayshaun Prince would be huge at this point in his career. But I just can't see it happen, man. I'm going Woodson.
I'm going Woodson as well. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. And like you said, again, I don't know. It's something with MMA. I don't know what it is. But these, like, I'm not going to call them freaks, but like the freak body types that are coming in are taking over, man. It's like this whole new, it's like the whole new evolution of MMA is this skinny, long body types. It's not like it was back in the day. You go back and watch MMA, it was all these meathead looking guys that are coming in and would be strong as oxes. And now it's like these guys that don't look strong at all and are just taking over the sport, man. I'm telling you, it's a whole different game. So I'm going to go with Woodson as well.
Yeah. And to follow up on what you just said, cardio is king, and those meathead-looking guys gas out quicker. These guys that are tall and long, like you're talking, typically have better gas tanks. So that just goes to what we were talking about earlier. Can't breathe, you can't fight. Now, a heavyweight matchup, a guy that you know really well, a guy I just interviewed, Maurice Green, stepping in against Gian Villante, who's coming up from light heavyweight for this matchup. I'm going to let you take the reins here on this one.
Yeah, man, this is a weird fight, man, because he's going to be, I mean, imagine that Maurice is going to be way bigger. He just moved down to Jackson Wink for this camp, but he brought his whole family, so I'm hoping that didn't distract him, too much down there. I mean, I know he's out in Vegas right now doing his thing, so hopefully he's staying away. I don't know if you know Maurice. Have you ever interviewed Maurice?
Last week was my first time.
Oh, you did? Did you see how wild he is? He's a wild man. I'll tell you right now, Maurice knows how to live, man. He lives life to the fullest. So hopefully, he's staying out of trouble. But like you said, I know him well. He's obviously, was out in the gym that me and Brock own out in Minnesota. Genuinely a really nice guy. And, I think he's going to be too big and a little bit too much for Villante. So I'm going to go for my boy Green.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Maurice gets the win here. I think Villante is one of those guys that is kind of like a gatekeeper in a sense. I think Green is a legit heavyweight. I think Villante coming up from light heavyweight to heavyweight is going to be reminded that maybe he should have stayed at 205. I think Green maybe gets the finish here. So I agree with you. I'm going with your boy Maurice, the crochet boss. Now, this next fight on the card might be, I mean, look, these top three fights, I'm looking forward to them all very uniquely for different reasons. Brendan Allen versus Kyle Dacus is one that I can't wait for because I've interviewed Brendan Allen for years now. Right. And saw his progression coming from LFA now to the UFC. I mean, he has two monster wins right out of the gate. He had that Contender Series win. Then he goes and he chokes out Kevin Holland, finishes Tom Breeze via ground and pound. Now he's welcoming in a guy with not as much experience. He's 9-0 in Dacus out of Philly. But this guy apparently is a neck hunter. If he gets a hold of your neck, he's able to get you out of there really quick. He's got a lot of submission victories. Brendan Allen's huge for 185. He's strong. He's well-rounded. He trains at Rufus Sport. He's got a bunch of killers there around him all the time. I just can't see any way he loses this fight. He was motivated going in to fight Heinisch after he beat his teammate, Jarrell Mearshart. Now he has a young up-and-comer. This is important to him. He needs to keep the train rolling. He's kind of like you in a sense where you guys are right outside of that top 15. You want to crack that top 15. A loss here is no good. He needs to stay focused and dialed in, and I think he will, man. Even if he wins a decision, I got Brendan Allen.
Yeah, I agree, man. Brendan Allen, I think a legit contender someday. I think he's going to be really start making a push, and I like his mindset, man. He dropped some names last week. I was saying in some of his interviews of all young killers, man. Like he's not looking for easy fights, and he's looking for those guys that are. Oddly, he's looking at those guys that are kind of on that same trajectory as him, which usually these guys are looking at maybe guys that, are coming on their way down a little bit to try to get that big name recognition. But he's trying to get those killers that are on their way up. So I've been impressed with him. Seems like another good dude, and I'll be also rooting for him in the fight. And I agree. I think that it's going to take a hell of a performance to take him out.
Yeah, no, okay, so we're in agreement there. Now, the co-main event, I mean, what can you say? Mike Perry and Mickey Gall. You got Mike Perry 13-6, Mickey Gall 6-2. Obviously, Mickey Gall is well versed on the ground. Mike Perry's a nut. Like, did you see the Instagram, the video that he posted with his fingers, like, or his knuckles? And I mean, I can't even believe he's getting cleared to fight, but here we are, and I just feel like he's going to be tough to beat, man. Even if he has his 110-pound girlfriend in his corner, which is what he said he's going to have happen. I think Mickey Gall he needs a win. And I think he's more experienced. I think he's well-rounded. He's got great wrestling and takedown defense. If this fight stays on the feet, I don't see any way Mickey Gall beats Mike Perry. So I'm leaning with the crazy man, Mike.
I know what you're saying. So this is the struggle. This is the struggle I have. Mike Perry is the better fighter. He's a real fighter too. He's that guy like he says, like you don't know him, you know what I mean? Like and if you like talk shit to him on the streets, like if you have 4 people with you, he's fighting. Like this is the way he is. You can tell he's a loose cannon. Not gonna talk shit. I do think he's a bad look for the sport. I do think he's a bad look for the sport because he says a lot of ridiculous things that are just like, nah, man. It's just like there's no room in the world for someone like some of the things that he says. You know what I mean? So it's not just him, but he is a fighter. Absolute batshit crazy. And in my brain, so this is my thing. In my brain, I'm like, Mike Perry should win. But in my heart, I'm like, he's so stupid. Like he's just so dumb. Like he makes some of the stupidest ass mistakes. He's shooting takedowns on Cowboy Cerrone. So you want me to trust that this guy's not going to go out there and do something stupid when Mickey Gall, all he has to do is take his back once and choke him. All Mike Perry has to do is make one mistake. You know what I mean? And I think if Mickey Gall can get on top and take his back, the fight's over. Because he's so stupid. I'm struggling here. I'm struggling because I'm just like, geez, this guy does have the talent. He does have the talent because you see him even go into grappling matches. He can go into grappling matches and grapple just fine. And then he could probably go into these striking fights and be just fine. But he just can't put it all together. And for that, I'm still sticking with Mike Perry. I think that Gall is trash. That's why.
Yeah.
Because I think Gall is trash. I can't do it. I try to talk myself into picking Gall, but I couldn't do it. Oh, my goodness. Every part of my body is just like, dude, just go with Gall, but I can't do it. He's just like, feel like he's been gifted his whole career in a way. And I just don't think he's a real UFC caliber fighter. And he doesn't, I don't even know, but props to him for taking this fight. I wonder if the UFC had to have told him, listen, you want to fight, you're fucking fighting Perry because we're tired of giving you these fucking layup turds that you've been fighting your whole career. And it's time for you to fight someone with a half a heartbeat. I'm not even sure if Mike has a heart. You know, I mean, that guy's ruthless, but now I have to go with Perry, man. I try to talk my way out of it. I couldn't do it.
Great breakdown. I love it. We're on the same page again. I'm going to let you take the reins here in the main event. But Rocco, okay. Let me say leading into this, there's nothing that you're going to say that will change my mind. I am 100% certain in who I'm picking here. And having said that, I can't wait for this fight. This fight has the makings to be one of the best that we've seen so far this year. Both of them are high-level elite fighters. They're well-rounded, and they're exciting. Man, who are you leaning towards?
I'm going to disagree with you just because I'm going to tell you why. The only reason why I disagree with you is because it's a 25-foot cage. If it was a 30-foot cage, I would agree with you that I would think that Hooker stands a chance. But I'm telling you right now, you want to put Dustin Poirier in a phone booth, and I promise you, you're going to come out and you're going to regret it. You don't want to put this guy in a phone booth. This guy fights in phone booths. This guy is a phenomenal phone booth fighter with ridiculous power. And I'm telling you right now, Hooker is in way over his head. I think that Hooker would do a lot better in a 30-foot cage. He'd have a little bit more room to maneuver and would be able to land some of his kicks a little bit more. But I'm telling you, you don't want to fight Dustin in a phone booth, and that's where I think that I see an early finish with Dustin with an early finish.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I mean, that's who I'm going with too. I got Poirier. I mean, look, if you can beat Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, you're as good as it pretty much gets. I mean, let's circle back to when he lost to Conor McGregor. That changed him. That was embarrassing to him. I've never spoken to him, but you can just tell afterwards what it did to him. It just made him look inwards, and he's just such a better fighter versus the old Diamond. And now, I mean, who? Everyone loses to Khabib, right? Like, who's going to beat Khabib at 55? Like GSP maybe, if he can make lightweight, but no one else is really beating him. So no shame there. And now you got Hooker, who just had a very close win, controversial win over Paul Felder. I still feel like Felder may have won that fight. And I think Poirier is on another level. So we agree again. We don't have too many differing
what do we have? Just the one difference, the first fight?
Yeah, we just have the first fight difference. So
I just went up 2 on you.
Well, we'll see. Are you going to be watching the fights tomorrow night? I'm certain.
Yeah, I'll be watching for sure. But I mean, I do think that that's going to be. It does have the potential to be a hell of a fight. Crazy scrap because Hooker's tough as hell, Dustin's tough as hell, and you know that they both are going to bring it. And you know damn well Dustin doesn't. I don't care. Dustin can come in on an off day, he's still going to throw.
Yeah.
So it's just. I don't want to say it sucks for Hooker because he's getting the opportunity, you know what I mean? But I wish it was in a 30-foot cage because I don't know I think it's a disadvantage for him because Dustin's such a good close striker, you know, with so much power in his right. He actually got so much power in his right hand as well as his left. But so I'm like, I think it's a bad recipe for Hooker. But I'm looking forward to the fight.
Yeah, no doubt. Me as well. I'll be down in Southern Maine on the beach at my friend's camp here watching the fights tomorrow night. And he's a former fighter himself. He was the regional heavyweight champion. He's a big guy, black belt jiu-jitsu. So I'm sure he'll probably embarrass me and throw me around, which but yeah, man, listen, this is our 7th show, and honestly, it just keeps getting better and better.
Yep.
I always appreciate it, and next week we'll do the recap for episode 8 and look forward to the next card. So as always, my friend, I appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, thank you, brother.